very welcome, and of course in all the usual places that you listen to Pure West Radio. And there's lots to do between now and 9 tonight as we look back on a busy weekend of football and rugby across Pembrokeshire. And a word, of course, for Liam Cullen, who was the match winner for Swansea at the weekend. And we might have to mention the mighty Spurs topping the Premier League table as well. Our guest tonight will be Dave Astons as we preview the Broadhaven 10K, and we'll look back on the recent Dale Half Marathon and 10K, and we'll look back at the weekend's boxing and find out why the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards have attracted record numbers of nominations this year. That is all to come. Fraser and Gordon are poised in the studio in Haverfordwest. Evening to you both. How are you doing?
Not too bad, Ben. A little bit sore and this morning, but I've thawed out from yesterday's Tenby 10K. But no, good event. Well done to the organisers. The streets were crammed, that's for sure.
Yeah, great stuff. And Gordon, how are you?
I'm very good, Ben. I was out and about at the weekend. I managed to see a little bit of Camrose and Letterston in the Senior Cup first round. That was quite an epic little battle there. And then popped over to the 4G pitch where Merlin's Bridge took on Hakin, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll do that in a minute. Let's just let's start with the Tenby 10K. We're going to do a bit of running as well with Dave Astons shortly. But 800 runners in Tenby yesterday, Fraser?
Yeah, I think 841 the official. The Tenby 10K was actually a very big event for a number of years. It was ran famously by volunteers, but and the Trots running club in St Clair's were heavily involved. It fell by the wayside a couple of years ago. I think maybe hasn't been on post-COVID, and there's a lot of disappointment. So a new company have come and tried to resurrect it, and the streets were crammed. One or two near physical altercations, trying to get away there and get some space, and some inclement weather too. I have to say there was biblical rain for the second half of it, but you would have run, I think, what was essentially one of the loops of the Ironman course, of course, because it's 4 6-mile loops, isn't it? And it's a good atmosphere there. A lot of people came out for it as well. So yeah, the old legs managed to stand it.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I can imagine it's not the quickest and quite a windy course in Tenby, Fraser, as well.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 hills there as well.
Yeah,
I realised, but I just got Harry Waring across the finish line first, 34 minutes 20 seconds, was a great time considering. And Darryl John of the Pembrokeshire Harriers was second behind him. So there was still some quick times. I watched those boys go off to the distance, and I think they've probably gone by the time I reached the line too. But...
Yeah, well, good effort. Well done to everyone who did that yesterday. And Gordon Fraser mentions the inclement weather in Tenby, and it's impacted, hasn't it, with local football as well. Quite a few games off because of waterlogged pitches.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was, First Division was decimated, basically. Penna Robbins were playing Neyland at Bush Camp. They managed to get 2-0 up, and at half-time, the game had to be abandoned.
Oh, it got started.
It did get started, yeah. And the only game played in Division 1 was Merlin's Bridge versus Hakin. Hakin losing in the Senior Cup the last week against Claverson Road. And they were looking for a reaction. But Merlin's Bridge took the lead through Nick Squire on about the hour mark. And Justin Skinny Harding brought himself on. He's the player boss of the Vikings, and he got a 93rd minute equaliser. So they went back with a point.
Great praise from the manager. Yeah.
Where do you stand on the 4G pitch debate? God, I think obviously in situations like this, I see their worth. You've got nearly every other game in Pembrokeshire off, and then you've got Merlin's Bridge. You could have hosted 1, 2, 3 games, whatever. I do understand it, and I like them as training facilities. I'm not convinced by this notion that all juniors and seniors should be playing them all the time. I think you've got to get used to inclement conditions and grass sometimes, and the odd day when you're digging into the mud and so on. But what's your thought? Do we need more of them? It's not as simple as putting more of them. They're not cheap.
I know they're not cheap. That is the running cost is the problem. But no, I'm not a huge fan of them, Fraser. Unfortunately, I just think the bounce of the ball and there's no give in that sort of surface really either. They have improved over the years. I have to say that. But when you look back at the old football back in the days when you were ankle mudding mud, that's fine. You can just get on with it. I have no problem with it. It's just so much of the health and safety issue today, Ben. That's the problem.
Do you think
boys could play in it? It's just that everybody's worried about being sued or whatever if something does actually go wrong. It's sad, but it is a true case. That's what's happening.
It's important to say that they are different to you think the original the plastic pitches that you remember Luton Town famously had one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Kenilworth
Yeah.
Road was a plastic pitch. Do you think they do anything for first touch though? Does the ball not come off a bit quicker, or is it not quite as natural as grass? What do you see having watched the game there at the weekend, Gord?
Well, the ball is quicker. It definitely is. The bounce is higher because it's a harder surface. But it's ideal for playing if it's pouring with rain. You can get a game and get on with it. And it's the same for both sides anyway. It doesn't, there's no standing water. We would have some standing water and grass.
I mean, Gordon's point is relevant there. The amount of local sides, at junior senior level, we do suffer this time of year from games called off and missing training time. And then you've got Merlin's Bridge, not just them, others as well, who might have access to those facilities, who are able to continue, and they're worth their weight in gold because players aren't missing out on football, and the longer players go without football, they often can turn them away. So you see they're worth it in this situation, and we should also.
My other argument phrase: it's a winter sport. For God's sake, it's a winter sport. It's going to rain. It's going to snow. Just get out there and get on with it.
My concern is if youngsters are only playing on these surfaces when the time comes, and they do have to play on a different surface that they're not used to. Then
I think half of them train on those surfaces anyway, Fraser. I think you're aware of that with your son playing.
Do you think it impacts Merlin's Bridge going from home and then away? So they go from the 4G to the grass. Do they play any differently? Do you think when they're on the grass one week and the 4G another?
They've been brought up with grass. They're used to it. Yeah. It's quite easy to adapt to that. That's not a problem, I don't think. 4G is a different surface, and it hasn't really given them much of an advantage. You would think it would, but when I see these games, they're not that much better than anybody else. The other sides that came into the transition of playing on this surface seem to manage quite easily as well. So
we should give them a bit of credit, actually. It's pretty difficult season, really, haven't they? Had a bit of criticism from us, and so I think they got a few things wrong in terms of the amount of people they brought in, and they haven't really gelled. I don't think that team particularly well yet, anyway. But they showed on Saturday they can still be a force, and they can still beat the top teams, and we're just a couple of seconds away, it seems, from doing so. So whilst they're not in the title race themselves, they could still be a factor if they keep performing like that, for sure.
I should say as well, Goodwick had a good win, didn't they, in the FAW Trophy at Owen Sports? They were 5-2 winners away from home. That was a decent win for them at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they're so well vested now in these cup competitions, haven't we? We've seen it in the West Wales Cup. They're not phased, and Sully's certainly not phased by going away or going away in inclement weather either. That's twice now they've gone on the road and picked up wins. And, he explained this decision on the show a couple of weeks ago, why they entered that. He wanted to keep them hungry. It was a new competition. He didn't want any complacency. We know he's not the type of character to stand for complacency either. So, and, it'll be important for them that they got the game played, because we've seen teams scuppered in the past because they've had to wait weeks and weeks to play cup games, and they get called off and they end up falling behind in their league fixtures. But actually, to go there and win, and then Hakin obviously dropping points at home, they're 2 points clear, a much better goal difference. So good Saturday for Goodwick United, actually.
Yeah, indeed.
The worry is this week, Ben, the weather is poor, and we got a load of our teams in the West Wales Cup. And lo and behold, Fraser will remember this, probably about 5 or 6 seasons ago, Merlin's Bridge didn't play for about 6-7 weeks.
The same game was really. In fact, I think it went to the point where after 3 weeks the fixture gets reversed, doesn't it? And I think there was one case, I can't remember the Merlin's Bridge, not with Pembroke team, it got reversed. Actually ended up getting reversed back.
Wow. Yeah, well, let's hope we get some.
I hope it's not as bad as that.
No, but it does sound like with more rain to come, it could be another weekend to come where games are off. Haverfordwest County drew at the weekend, didn't they? That was not a bad point, actually. Newtown have been in good form. Haverfordwest drew, so they're 8th in the table. It was 1-1, 14 points from 14, and back at home this coming Saturday. Not a bad point, that, I don't think, for Tony Pennock in the side.
Oh, definitely. They got hit early as well. They scored after 4 minutes. So Haverfordwest, to be fair, they regrouped, and they managed to get back into the game and draw level. A point away at Newtown, who were 4th before the game had started. They finished up in 3rd place with the draw. It is a good point, but Tony will be happy that they've gone away and secured a point, but I still feel that there are more goals there for Haverfordwest County. They need to be a little bit more, cutting edge in that final third. And I'm sure they're working on that in training.
Struggling Colwyn Bay at home this weekend as well.
We would expect them to pick up 3 points.
Yeah, that's a big win, isn't it? Yeah, it's a big game this Saturday. Colwyn Bay, 2:30 kickoff. That's at the Bridge Meadow. We had some good stuff in the local rugby as well in the first hour of the show. Good to hear from John Evans, the Tenby head coach, and reaction as well from the Haverfordwest camp as well. They went at St David's, didn't they?
Yeah, I went down and actually watched the first half of our work of Gordon's lot came down, turned up this time, to be fair to him. And it was everything you'd expect in heavy rain and wind. Actually, it was tight early on, St David's were in it, but Haverfordwest actually were more clinical, well-drilled pack. You actually saw the first 10-15 minutes. St David's had all the pressure, 3 points to show for it. Haverfordwest went down with their first line-up, got a rolling maul going and got a penalty try, I think. And that was the nature of it, actually. Haverfordwest were clinical whenever they were in the St David's 22. And look, people have talked about a little bit of turmoil going on at Haverfordwest, and obviously the coach, Randall Evans, leaving already and a change at the helm there. But they've played 4 games and they've won 4. They've got maximum 20 points from 20. They'll bang in this title race. Them, Cardigan and Larne, I think, will be the 3 to watch. Yeah. And something will give this Saturday. Actually, Haverfordwest playing Cardigan, both teams maximum points so far. So the Blues will be up there.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, that's to come. Just jumping back to football as well, Liam Cullen was the match winner, wasn't he, for Swansea at the weekend, Fraser? I told you just to keep a bit of faith in Michael Duff, and he seems to like Liam as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, coming good. I mean, Gore was just talking off air, actually. It's nice to see. It's been a big month for Liam, first Welsh cap, cemented place in the Swansea, and he's scoring goals now, but he's scoring pivotal goals that are influencing the outcome of games, and that's what he wants,
I think being in the starting lineup would have boosted his confidence as well, to know that I'm going to be in the team and I can prove my worth. And fair play to Liam, he's taken his chance. It's a little bit looking back like over a decade ago when we saw little Joe Allen coming out and playing, doing exactly the same. Hopefully Liam can go in the same vein as him. Perhaps not to Liverpool, but
you do feel though that after his injury problems, though, actually this is quite good to see him in the side playing regularly, isn't it? And Duff will back him. I think Duff does like those young players, and he's going to give him an opportunity.
Oh, it's what he's been craving for a couple of years now. It seemed at one point, and certainly under Russell Martin, that his time might have been limited because of the lack of game time he was getting. But no, he's a regular now, and that can only help him. And he's done well. He's battled back from a few critics. He battled back from a few people who thought he's heading out of the club, and he's an important player there now.
Yeah, let's not forget he went out in loan as well. To Lincoln, to Lincoln. Yeah, he did well for the Linnets and come back, and he's proved his worth for the Swans.
And getting that Wales
long may it continue.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, we will take a moment. We're going to talk to Dave Astons in a sec. The Broadhaven Christmas pudding run isn't far away. Is that a 10K, 10th of December? 10K, Fraser, you going to be up for that one as well? Dave,
I shall tackle the hill.
Yeah, we're going to find out all about that in a few moments' time. That famous hill. We'll do that with Dave. Of course, you can get involved. We've got plenty more to come as well between now and 9 o'clock on Pure West Sport for a Monday evening.
Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors have traditional